Ever since the dawn of time, humans have been fascinated by massive, terrifying creatures. First, it was the mammoths, then it was dragons. Then you meet dog-sized cats that somehow hisses at everyone except him. But then, back in '93, the year yous were graced with my presence, Spielberg gave us this absolute unit. Dinosaur so perfectly lit and graded that we all immediately believed, yeah, that's real, and it could definitely scran me. Fast forward 20 odd years and we're no longer just looking at dinosaurs, we're looking at branded dinosaurs, digital pixels wrapped in expensive VFX and just a touch of corporate approved danger. So how did we go from warm, filmic adventure to cool, polished blockbuster? Let's talk colour grading, dinosaur style. When Jurassic Park hit the screens in 1993, it wasn't just the groundbreaking CGI that made it feel real, it was the world itself. Warm, organic, sun-drenched. You could smell the damp in the jungle, feel the heat radiating off the amber stones. It felt natural. Spielberg's Jurassic Park lives in the warmer end of the spectrum. The warm magentas, oranges, earthy greens, deep shadows. And the reason? Good old 35mm film. It was shot on Kodak's EXR line of film stock. The 5245-7245 EXR 50D was perfect for those golden daylight shots with superfine grain. And the 5248-7248 EXR 100T was more balanced to handle lower light beautifully. The 5296-7296 EXR 500T was the big lad for those moody, rain-soaked night sequences. So what does that actually mean? It means Jurassic Park had natural depth, rich blacks and a soft cinematic texture. It absorbs light differently. It glows in the highlights instead of looking artificially sharpened. Even in the darker scenes, Spielberg knew how to keep those warm tones alive. The T-Rex breakout, drenched in deep blues and blacks, but there's still a warmth, the flares, the red glow. It's not desaturated, it's alive, textured, dangerous. But now take a look at Jurassic World. It's shot digitally, it feels digital, the grading leans heavily into those blues and teals, a trend that's dominated Hollywood blockbusters since the early 2010s. Unlike Jurassic Park, which used photochemical colour timing, Jurassic World was graded digitally. Shot mostly on the Panavision Millennium XL2 and some shots on the Red Epic Dragon. These are high resolution beasts that prioritise clarity over texture. See the difference? Jurassic Park's horror moments in the kitchen, it's warm, shadowy, high contrast, but still soft enough to feel pastel-esque, and that's something that comes from the film stock. And the raptors, they emerge from the darkness. It's proper horror movie stuff. Steven Spielberg's colour choices reinforce Jurassic Park's central theme, the wonder of discovery. This was a world untouched by humans. Nature reclaiming its power. The warm tones make it feel like a place you could step into. It was a prehistoric Eden, right before it goes absolutely tits up. By contrast, Jurassic World is about control. It's not about rediscovery, it's about reinvention. The colour grading reflects that. It's much cleaner, sharper, corporate. This is nature as a commodity. It's a polished zoo, a product. Ever noticed how Jurassic Park feels like a story from the past, even if you're watching it for the first time? That's not just because it was made in 1993. It's because of a trick called temporal colour perception. The film's colour palette leans on warmer, earthier tones, gold, amber, deep greens, which subtly tell your brain that this is a story from history, a world long lost. Now Jurassic World leans heavily into those cooler tones, the blue, cyan, desaturated steel greys. Why? Because in Western media, blue tones are associated with futurism, technology, and progress. Even if you don't consciously notice this, your brain immediately categorizes Jurassic World as a modern high-tech spectacle rather than a lost relic of nature reclaiming itself. It's why the first park felt like an ancient mystery waiting to be uncovered, and the second feels like a product launch at an Apple keynote. Now, let's talk about the colour red. In Jurassic Park, Spielberg used red sparingly but meaningfully. The bloodied goat leg, the red danger sign, the flare that leads the T-Rex away. Every time you see red, your brain registers it as urgent, primal, life or death. But in Jurassic World, red is, well, it's everywhere. On security badges, emergency monitors, warning lights, it's less about danger and more about corporate safety measures. The effect? Red loses its primal power. So when a character finally holds up a red flare like Claire leading the T-Rex, it doesn't land as viscerally as when Malcolm did it back in '93. It's colour inflation. The more you see it, the less it means. Now let's talk about depth perception and how colour affects scale and distance. Right, now this one's a sneaky one. In Jurassic Park, Spielberg uses colour contrast to enhance the feeling of depth. The foreground is usually warmer or slightly warmer and detailed, while the background falls into deeper shadows. It makes the jungle feel massive, stretching endlessly behind the characters. But Jurassic World often flattens depth. Digital grading compresses that contrast, so everything from the front of the frame and the background will often feel as equally sharp and visible. It makes the world feel more like a theme park because that's literally what it is. The jungle isn't a mystery anymore, it's a full-on display. No hidden dangers lurking in the dark. You're watching the dinosaur like an audience. You're not having to survive among them. So when we look at the evolution of colour in the Jurassic films, it's not just an aesthetic choice, it's a shift in how we experience these worlds. Jurassic Park used colour to make us feel lost in a prehistoric past, where nature ruled and discovery felt tangible. The later films leaned into high-tech spectacle with cooler control palettes that made us feel more like spectators of a carefully curated theme park rather than explorers of something untamed. But now with the recent release of the Jurassic World Rebirth trailer, things seem to be changing again. This trailer is teasing a grittier, more grounded look. Gone are the hyper-saturated blues of Jurassic World, seemingly, and replaced by a more naturalistic, almost survivalist aesthetic. There's more mist, more contrast, a return to those deep greens and rich shadows that made Jurassic Park feel so visceral. It feels raw, unpolished, like we're not in a theme park anymore. So the question is, where does the franchise go next? Will it fully embrace the return to nature, to unpredictability, to danger? Will colour finally bring back that primal fear and wonder? Or will it evolve into something else entirely? One thing is for sure, the colours of the Jurassic films have always shaped our wonder, but now they reshape our fear. What was once a world of discovery is becoming something more primal, more untamed. The dinosaurs were never meant to be contained, and neither is the way that we see them.